everybody, we're here at the Charles C. Miller Jr. Poultry Research and Education Center on Auburn University's campus, and we're going to be taking a look at the Fortenberry processing plant. But before we do that, let's show you where it all begins at D&F Equipment in Crossville, Alabama. So Gary, tell us a little bit about what you do here and what D&F Equipment does.
Sure. My name is Gary Cameron. I'm the Director of Engineering here at D&F, and I've been here approximately about 19 years. And D&F started in 1987 as a millwright company where we would go in and install equipment on the weekends for processors around the area. And that's steadily developed into a large-scale operation where we actually are building the equipment, building conveyor systems, and installing equipment as we started out doing. But today we are also integrated in not only poultry, but we also work in the beef and the pork industries, and most any meat industry around that we've done work in. But today we are fully integrated with engineering, our CAD, our fabrication, installation, and we've also recently added an electrical division.
Okay, cool. So can you walk us through the whole process of how it works?
Sure.
All right. All right, Gary, so tell us, how's it all start?
Okay, well, what we typically do is we'll be contacted by a customer, a processor, and they will ask that we come and sit down and meet with them. Whether that be with one of us or one of our sales engineers will come in, and sometimes we accompany them, sometimes the sales engineer brings that information back to us. But what we will do is go in, we will verify the facility, which we see here is we're taking this processing area in a plant, and we will verify everything in the room as a starting point. And then we will, working with the processor, the customer, determine what their needs are, what they want to change, what products they want to produce, and what equipment they want to use within their process. And then we'll go through that, develop a working layout. And once we get that, our sales engineer will sit down and quote the job based on what we can provide. And we will produce a work order, which would be one of these. And then we'll take that, write our specifications, and start the process of getting everything designed to go through into our CAD department. And so this layout here, you can see, it's been marked up where we went through and verified everything in the room and made changes and improvements over what they had, or changing things out. And then up here on the screen, you see this is the final layout of what we're actually going to provide in the installation information. So very rarely do you take a plan, go in and sit down with a customer, and they'll say, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's you'll go in and you know, I've done jobs where I've had probably 10 to 15 revisions. And you know, you keep working through those iterations and those changes to where you get exactly what they want to do. And a lot of times throughout the course of that planning, things change, and they'll come in and just reverse course altogether.
Yeah.
So it's very fluid.
Okay.
Very fluid. Megan, this is J.W. Ashmore. He's one of our Auburn graduates, and J.W. will be telling you a little more about what he does.
All right, J.W., so tell us a little bit about you.
So I graduated from Auburn with a biosystems degree in spring of 2017, and I've been working here since about a year after that. So I think I started in January of 2018, and I've been here since then.
Okay, so what does your job look like as a project engineer?
So pretty much what I do here is, well, to begin with, I'll aid our sales engineers with any layout design. So as you can see that layout right behind you there, we'll work on the flow from beginning to end of a project, and once we get a purchase order for that, I do a lot of the mechanical design for that as well. So I'll be a presence from the beginning to the end of the project, to where we'll come up with a conception of the project as much as we will all the way to install the project in the plant.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of creativity, because each project is different in how it looks. Each piece is going to be a little bit different than from another project. So tell us about that, like how you get to use your creativity.
Yeah. So that's definitely on display here at DNF, a little more so than it could be in other places. But with us, you know, with this drawing here, you see straight lines that come through, and with other drawings, you may see something that completely has to wrap around and do something completely different. So, you know, being at Auburn and working with the professors like I did, like Dr. Facina and Dr. Otakari and Doherty and McDonald and all of them, they really help spur that creativity to where you can have more of a design mindset to be able to work around any problem that you were to be presented in this world.
So I guess as the engineer, as part of it, so you have to not only know the engineering side, but you got to know how all the different equipment that's out there, right? And how it's going to work, so you know what to put in.
And it's ever changing. There's always advancements, developments. It's interesting between the beef, the pork, and the poultry industry, the difference in advancement stages of each one. There's some are ahead of the others in different areas, and but the one common factor that is with USDA, you have certain criteria you have to design by and build by. It has to be food safety, and employee safety also has to be considered, you know, all the OSHA regulations. So, you know, as the engineers work on this, they have to design the equipment knowing that it's got to be safe for the public to consume for food safety, and it has to be safe for the people working within the facilities for employee safety. So a lot of aspects you have to consider.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize how big of a project it really is. How many components are going into it. From here, now you've gotten it laid out and ready to go to CAD. That's where it goes to next.
Right. Once we have all the specifications defined, and the quote has been generated and everybody's good, and no more, well, we don't anticipate any more changes, but then we'll turn that information over to our CAD department, and they'll start preparing our approval drawings. Okay, Megan, now we're in the CAD department, and we're with Riley Eubanks, who's our Director of CAD Services.
All right. Hi, Riley. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and your role here with DNF?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, CAD is the division of engineering that makes all the drawings for our equipment. Being like, here's one of them right here. These are conveyors that we do. We set up the standards, we make the drawings, and one of the things that I specialize in is training. I train new engineers and new CAD people to come into our company and understand what we do and how we do it and what all it takes to get it done.
Okay.
So basically that's known as CAD boot camp. And it's a process that could last 3 months.
Yeah.
And we have a training regimen. We have several different lessons of complexity that we bring people into that teaches them not only CAD skills, but it also teaches them the language that someone needs to learn to speak to the shop, that learns what all the toolage is that's in the shop that builds what we build, the material usage, all of those things. Brings their skill levels in CAD up to the point to where they're a power user, and at the same time introduces them to all the pieces of equipment that we build.
So what's the best part of your job?
Oh man, probably the fast pace that we do, the multitasking that we do, the variety of the equipment packages that we have to put together. It's never the same thing. It's never boring. It doesn't slow down to the point to where you're going to get bored. If anything, it's dealing with the stress of the load and the variety of things.
To get it done by that certain time.
Yeah, that's the funnest thing.
Okay, Megan, here we are in our machine shop, which is Alabama Machine Works, which is a subsidiary of DNF Equipment. And they supply most of our components for our conveyors, whether it be metal or plastics. Almost all of our plastics come from here. So we'll go through here and take a look and just kind of like see an overview of what we do. In this area is much more CNC materials where we are forming sprockets, different components for the conveyors. You see here, we fabricate our own sprockets and turn wheels for overhead lines. We also do our wear strips for our belts to ride upon. We try to fabricate as much as we can in-house.
Yeah.
So, in this other area over here, we have all of our storage areas for our plastics. It's become more and more difficult to get raw materials with today's climate where we are as far as acquisitions and shipping and just availability of the raw materials. So we try to keep as much on hand as we can, buy those in bulk quantities so we can keep our flow of equipment and the components for that equipment steady.
Yes, it does
So-
slow your process. So they get the CAD drawing starts here and moves its way
Yes.
through and building the
Yes.
product.
So we'll actually take our components we have on our part sheets and go through that and see exactly what we can provide ourselves without having to order that from outside. So now we're going to go into our main assembly area where we have a storage area for our raw materials.
Okay.
Okay. And as we come through, this area up here is where we do all of our cutting and measuring for our stick material, whether that be angle or tubing. And then, as we talked about, when we send something from CAD to the laser, they'll come in and pull the sheets from the racks of the stainless and then load the laser with the stainless material that we're using, whether it has to be a 12 gauge, quarter inch, or 14 gauge, whatever material thickness is.
Okay.
So here we have the break and shear to where we take components off the laser once it's come through the buffer, and we use the guides that are placed on their lines, brake lines we add in CAD. So it aids the operators in knowing exactly where to make the break or to make the cuts on the metal itself. So it's really helped speed up the process because you're not having to sit here and measure things out. Those brake lines are added in CAD to where they just basically set it up. You can see here what he's doing now is they're taking those pieces up there and putting an angled brake to strengthen the metal. So each one of those components that he's doing now are the lateral braces that go on the conveyors. So when he breaks it out, each one of those will have an angle which will strengthen that component in the cross section of the conveyor to make a stronger assembly. Now, one other thing too, Megan, is each one of these workstations, each one of our employees here in our shop is working on a separate piece of equipment. So here we have an incline conveyor, a vertical incline conveyor, and this person here will actually assemble this here in this workstation. And all the components that go with this, everything is brought out on a pallet, and so that pallet will be delivered to his workstation where he'll have everything he needs to build the frame for this conveyor. And then once he gets everything welded out, then that will pass on to the middle shop where we start putting on the belts, the bearings, the shafts, such. So in here, we actually assemble the conveyors and test run each piece of equipment before it leaves the shop, which some of these can be quite large.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon for us to have this whole area filled up with equipment and customers come in and see it test run.
Oh, okay. So they get to look at it before it shows up at
Yes.
their facility?
Yeah, we have some customers who, part of their requirement is to have it run here on site and for them to check off on it, which here, something this size, it's not uncommon for them to want to see it run before they ship it to the plant. So now we're in final assembly, and in this area, it's where the conveyors are completed before they ship. So these components here are all assembled, and he'll have this conveyor completely running before they do a quality check on it, make sure there's no issues with the tracking of the belt. It's running smoothly, and once they do that, they'll sign off on it, and we'll take it over, wrap it. We shrink wrap everything to where it keeps it as clean as possible during transport.
Yeah.
And plus, it's easily identifiable because we actually put the labels on the shrink wrap, which helps the people in the field identify which components they're dealing with.
So then you have, when you ship it, you have a whole nother team of people that actually go assemble it?
That's correct. Our final service installation group, they work outside of our facility here. They work on site with the customer to install the equipment as we deliver. So, and that is a very their timing is usually from Friday afternoon till Sunday night. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. So we have to have everything together already decided when we hit the lot, because they have to know exactly what they're doing and what's going in, because once they get there, they can't stop.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
So, and we support that at times. We'll be on site to help them facilitate that.
I was going to ask, do you guys go back out and see it all to make sure?
Right. So, Megan, this is our staging area to where we take equipment in between departments and we store it out here. So we store things out here and inside this room over here, and then final assembly crews will come out and pull that equipment in as it's needed. And as we saw, the shrink wrap, once the equipment is shrink wrapped, we'll take it out to the shipping area out here on the west side of the property over here on the fence, and they'll stage it based on loads, locations where it's going to be shipped. And we have our shipping group that's contracted out. They'll come in and load that equipment. Usually on Thursdays or Fridays we'll ship equipment, because it usually has to be there either Fridays or Saturday morning first thing for the installation crews. When we sat down with Auburn University to work on the Miller Poultry Research Center, they wanted a pilot plant, because we had built one for Mississippi State University years ago, and they wanted something along those same lines. So we sat down with the group down there and put together a floor plan which accomplished everything they wanted to see in the picking, the eviscerating, and the further processing areas of that. But we had to do it in a small scale based on the facility that they could build. And so there were several meetings with Mitchell there on site, and where we went through and made revisions to the layout, and eventually sat down and was able to reach a final agreement of what equipment we would provide. And then there was a lot of cooperation throughout the industry of people donating equipment and pulling that equipment in.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a challenge, because we had to wait and see who was going to be donating equipment before we knew which equipment we could use in the layout. But all that came together, and then that facility, came to be reality.
Yeah, and now students get to kind of work in a poultry processing plant.
Exactly.
Yeah, before getting out there into the real world. That's pretty cool.
Today we're here at the Fortenberry Poultry Processing Plant, located at the Charles Miller Poultry Research and Education Center. The poultry processing plant is named after the Fortenberry family with D&F equipment sales. D&F has been an excellent partner with the Department of Poultry Science, starting since about 2002 with the first gift, and then followed in 2004 with a scholarship donation. And then in 2017, they did build and donate over 500 floor pens that were part of the floor pen facilities here at the Miller Center. And they also contributed to the design as well as building the infrastructure for the equipment in the poultry processing plant. So when you culminate all of these different significant gifts, has been a significant contribution to the Poultry Science Department. This has allowed us to train the young new talent that would enter into the poultry industry.
So Courtney, tell us a little bit about yourself and where we are.
Sure. I'm Courtney Gardner, an Associate Director here at the Miller Center, and I am over the processing plant. So we can be fully farm to fork here at the Miller Center complex, and I oversee the processing portion of that. And here at the Fortenberry processing plant is where that takes place.
All right, can you give us a tour of the place?
Sure, let's go. Now, Megan, I'd like to introduce you to two of our students who work out here at the processing plant, Kaylee and Casey.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Goebel. I'm from Cullman, Alabama, majoring in poultry science production, and I'm a senior.
Hi, my name is Casey Maggard. I'm from Pell City, Alabama. I'm a senior here where I study poultry science production and have a minor in agricultural business.
So now we can put on some PPE and take a tour.
Great, let's go.
So our facility is just under 20,000 square feet. So for a university, this is really state of the art. We're very proud of it. We want it to be kind of the gold standard in terms of university processing plants. It really gives our students a firsthand look at the exact equipment that they will see out in the industry and in a commercial operations. They get hands-on experience with the same equipment here, so they really get a leg up when they go out in the industry on internships and when they take jobs. That's not the first time that they're seeing those things. So we're really proud to have this facility here. We run about 2 to 3 times a month right now, but we are working on expanding how often we can run. A typical run for us is between 600 and 700 birds, which is not really anywhere close to what a daily operation would run. But our facility is for the purposes of research, teaching, and extension activities. So what we run is based off of research needs and what trials we have going on in the farm at that time.
Typically at the Miller Center, we have about 5 to 7 students that are working out here each semester. Also, in addition to that, we have several students that work in faculty labs that are helping, assisting with processing events. So we may see anywhere from 20, 25 students that gain hands-on experience.
So now we're in the stunning room. This is also our live receiving room. So the beginning of our process actually starts in this room. So we receive live birds in this room, and then this belt system feeds them into the next room, which is the hanging room, which is where they would be hung on the shackles, and that really starts their journey into the next room. DNF did install this conveyor belt system for us, and they did also install a ramp system at the end of this conveyor belt that allows coops to come out of our controlled atmosphere stunning system to be fed into the next room.
So this room is our picking room. DNF installed all the infrastructure in here, and so that way we could put in our belts and have the birds run through this room. So the birds enter into this room and then are humanely euthanized. The feathers are removed, the hocks are removed, and then they enter into the next room, which is evisceration.
So how long have you been working at the center?
I've worked here about 2 years.
Okay, so Kaylee, why did you choose poultry science?
So ever since I was little, I grew up around birds and started showing birds in banny shows, and eventually got really close with a guy that started testing our birds every couple of months before showing. And he told me about the 2+2 program through my community college, and it led me here today. So now we're moving into our evisceration room, or more commonly known as our evis room. The first step here is our birds will be rehung on our rehang table, and then they will be run through our machines to have the viscera packs removed, and then they will be moved into our room for chilling. This is our most automated room. Thanks to DNF, all the infrastructure was supplied. They also built the conveyor belts for our rehang table and for our gut line that we use here.
Okay, so tell me about your experience here, Casey.
Yeah, so I've been working here at the farm for about 1 year, and I mainly am focusing here in the processing plant. I really have enjoyed my time here. Really getting the hands-on experience has been beneficial for me, taking that into my processing classes, but also taking that into my internships and job opportunities.
Okay, and so what do you want to do when you get out?
So I currently have a position as a management trainee in HR, so I will be in a complex in the plant, and I really have enjoyed getting that experience to work with people and poultry.
Cool. So why did you choose poultry?
Yeah, so I don't come from a poultry background at all. I was around horses and cattle growing up, and I did poultry judging with FFA in high school, and it kind of just clicked. Everything made sense. So I was told that there was a poultry science pre-vet option coming here, and I said, okay, why not? We'll start off with that. I did 1 semester as a pre-vet, and I changed it production because I just fell in love with the industry. I fell in love with the job opportunities, the people and the facilities that we have, and the department in general. The professors really care and put an interest into our education and ensuring that we have a future for us out there in the industry.
And not many students can say that they can have a true hands-on experience.
Yes, and we really try to get classes down here, and they get to watch processings happen, or they get to participate and help in the processings that we do.
So this is our debone room. So this is where the birds would come from evisceration, and we're required to chill them down to a certain temperature within a certain amount of time for food safety reasons. And we can cut them up into their different parts in here. So breast meat, tenders, leg quarters, etc. And then if we want to do anything further to those products, we can do that in our next room, which is further processing.
So how cold do you keep it in this room?
So this room is set to 38 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, wow.
So this is our further processing room. It's also refrigerated for the same reasons. We want to keep all of our products at a food safe temperature to make sure that we are sending out a safe and wholesome food product. So in this room, we can marinate products, inject it with a brine, make sausage, make hot dogs, etc. We can bread products in here and fry it up in our test kitchen, which is the next room over.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So this is our test kitchen. We have a lot of classes that go on down here as well, where they get experience making the kind of products that we were just talking about, and they get the opportunity to cook those products up in here and taste them in real time. So it's kind of a rewarding experience for students to be able to raise birds here on the farm, send them down to the processing plant and process them, and then make a finished product and be able to taste it while they're here.
Specifically, in terms of the students, we have labs that are taught in our poultry processing class as well as our further processing class. Our poultry processing class learns about processing birds in first stage processing, whereas our further processing plant enables our students to get hands-on experience with further processing as well as marination, as well as into the kitchen as producing actual products that they can actually make. So really provides a learning experience for both fresh and further processing.
So is it really, it's really cool that you get to take what you're learning in the classroom and actually come out and practice it.
Absolutely.
So talk us through how you think it's kind of preparing you for your job after college.
So I'm selected to go into food safety. So as I worked at a real processing facility besides research, I got the experience to work hands-on with their quality assurance. And a lot of what we do here is working with different professors. So they all have a different kind of research that they're performing. So they each have different steps that they're using. So for example, there was one where we had to dunk birds into a trash can for a wog wash, kind of. So wog wash samples for different diseases that could potentially be harmful in food for us to consume if it's not cooked properly. So I've made the decision to go into food safety due to the experience that I've had here and what I've had in my internship.
So you have a biosystems engineering degree.
I do.
So tell us how that integrates into what you're doing.
So biosystems is biosystems work good as a good general engineering degree, as well as we went through a lot of food processing stuff while I was there. I remember doing a lot of our AutoCAD work with Dr. Doherty while I was there, and I believe it was Dr. Wang who I did a lot of the food processing work with. And the professors there at Auburn did a really good job of helping focus your mindset and reshape your mindset and your problem solving capabilities to be able to tackle things like this, to where when you're younger and you won't be able to, and you're not, haven't started college yet, to where you can do this better than you would have then.
So when you're working with engineers specifically, what are some of the key traits you're looking for that makes them really easier to train, prepares them well?
They don't necessarily have to be CAD proficient. We with the CAD boot camp, we have tooled that to the point to where we can bring anybody from a novice level up to a power user fairly quickly. Communication is a big thing. A lot of times, especially in today's technological world, people want to get caught up in technology and not just want to do the old-fashioned face-to-face swapping of ideas and understanding things. And communication will probably be one of the biggest things about learning what we do and how we do it, and being a really good candidate for that.
So Gary, talk to us about internship opportunities for students.
Well, over the past, let's say 10 to 12 years, we've had the opportunity to have several of the Auburn Biosystems students here during the summer to internship with, to work an internship with D&F equipment. And if anybody's interested in that, they just need to get with Dr. Facina and just get the information, my information. They would send me an email and a resume, and just indicate their interest in applying for that position.
Okay, and what are you looking for?
Well, the ones that we've had from Auburn, they're more of a mechanical background. They're looking for a mechanical emphasis on their degree. I know biosystems have several areas you can specialize in, but we're looking at more of a mechanical emphasis, and someone who likes to get outside, get their hands dirty. It's not an office job 100%. I mean, you spend as much time out in the field or in the shop as you do in the office, but one thing we do focus on is that we've talked about before is our CAD boot camp. Every intern that comes through will complete the CAD boot camp and be pretty proficient in AutoCAD once they leave, in the drafting aspect of it. And we actually get a chance to take them out in the field on travel with us to job sites, and it's a really good experience for anybody who's has an interest in looking at this as a career field.
All right. Well, thanks for all you do to support our students and the opportunities that you provide to kind of broaden their experience while they're at Auburn. And thanks for showing us around today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.